Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA, online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original Rock and Roll Geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Wednesday, August 8th, 2018, and it's 3:37 p.m. when I'm recording this show. I am getting ready to go to Butler's practice. Well, I got to cook dinner first. The wife is still out of town. Just me and Brian and the dogs. Getting ready to cook dinner and get ready to go to Butler's practice. We are playing with LA Guns tomorrow. If you happen to be in town, come say hello, friends. We go on first. So we're going out at like 8 o'clock. And then we're playing with them again on Saturday in Santa Rosa at a place called House of Rock. Thursday is at a place called Cornerstone. All right. I've asked for submissions, show reviews, show ideas for these Dog Days of Podcasting. This is day 8 of Dog Days of Podcasting, where I'm attempting to do a show a day for the entire month of August. By the way, thank you for the positive feedback on the Exodus 2-part thing. I hope you enjoyed that. I had to repost yesterday's. I was recording it as I was driving to Featherwitch practice, and I was uploading it in the parking lot, and I had a bad cell phone reception, so all of it didn't get uploaded. So I had to repost it when I got home. So if you got only 20 minutes of it, re-download it because it should be okay now. Anyway, thank you for the submissions, and here is one from friend of the show, Chuck Speer.
Hey Michael, it's Chuck Speer, Rock and Roll Hoosier.
Hey Chuck.
With another show review for you, this time a little bit more recent than the Cheap Trick one I just sent you. And that is...
You sent me 2 show reviews, one of Cheap Trick. I have this one, a Cheap Trick review. I got one from, I got 2 other ones that I'll be playing on upcoming episodes. So please keep them coming, friends. rockandrollgeek@gmail.com.
This past Friday night, August 3rd, in Anderson, Indiana, which is just northeast of Indianapolis, about a half an hour, at the, the Anderson racetrack. So it's a horse racing track. And they have a concert series there every weekend, and they've had.
Do you gamble? Can you watch the horse races too while the concert, before the concerts? Because I was in Texas and I saw Ted Nugent. It was $5 to get into the horse races, and you got a free Ted Nugent show afterwards. It was great.
Artists like Hart and ZZ Top, and this particular bill was a double bill of George Thorogood and the mighty Hogfat,
nice.
a.k.a. Foghat. So, as you well know...
I've never heard them referred to as Hogfat. I like that.
Friend, Rodney O'Quinn, who played bass for Pat Travers' band for many years, now plays bass full-time for them.
For Foghat. By the way, rest in peace, Craig McGregor, one of the greatest bass players of all time.
You sing the now rest in peace
Craig
McGregor.
There you go.
Who passed on from leukemia, I believe it was, about 6 months ago.
And I'm going to go on record as saying Craig McGregor, one of the funnest bass players to watch. He was a ripping bass player, and it was always my dream to get him to teach me how to play the bass solo of Slow Ride. That never happened, but every time I would see him play, he would use talcum powder, and there would be a cloud of talcum powder around him at all times, and I still think the talcum powder caused his cancer.
So he had been filling in for Craig for about a year or a year and a half while he had his treatment, and sadly Craig never recovered. So Rodney is the full-time member and full-time bass player. So he had posted on Facebook that he was going to be in the area, and I promised him that if I was within a couple hours of the band, that I would try to get out and see him, say hi, catch up with him a little bit. And so I got with him and said, hey, I actually don't have any plans tomorrow night, and if you would like to catch up a little bit, let me know if you can do anything about the show and maybe get me on the guest list or whatever. And he got back to me like a couple hours later, the awesome dude that he is, and got me a +1. So I called up one of my high school friends, and we headed to the show. And we were in the VIP section,
Very
which is
nice.
kind of the part they give the people that do all the heavy gambling in the casino and the racetrack. Gave them some tickets, and I got 16th row on Rodney's side of the stage. We got there with Chris traffic on a Friday night around rush hour was just abysmal, and so we didn't get up there and go to the will call window, get our tickets, and figure out where to go. I'd never seen a show outdoors. I had seen Cheap Trick in their showroom lounge, but I'd never seen a show out on the outdoor racetrack or near the racetrack, the amphitheater, which holds about 3,500 people. So it took us a while to get our tickets, get down there, and then we had to stand in line for something to drink for like 20 minutes. It's like, geez,
sounds like a
Louise.
good crowd.
But we were there to at least hear the beginning and watch from a distance the beginning of Foghat's set. Might as well call him Hogfat, but so they sounded really good. The mix, the sound guy was doing an amazing job. The separation between the instruments was great, real punchy. Roger Earl's kick drum was really powerful. Background vocals were really strong. You could hear, guitars and vocals. Everything was good. Of course, some of you know, some of you don't know. Foghat now the only original member is Roger Earl, the drummer.
That's correct. That's right.
So it's him, and then obviously Rodney O'Quinn, my buddy on bass, has been for 2 years, and then they've got Brian Bassett on slide guitar, so he kind of does the Lonesome Dave parts. May he rest in peace. And then
I thought that Rod Price did all the slide. I'm probably wrong about that.
the Rod Price parts and the vocals are done, or it was Lonesome Dave, the vocalist. Is that right, Michael?
That's
so actually,
correct.
I get that backwards.
There
So
you go.
Charlie
See?
Huhn
There you
is
go.
the lead vocalist.
Charlie Huhn from Ted Nugent, Weekend Warriors era.
Lead vocals
Lonesome
and
Dave's
the
parts.
just rhythm guitar. So he does the Lonesome Dave part, and then the Rod Price slide guitar part is done by Brian Bassett. Sorry.
There you go.
So yeah,
That's why I'm the rock and roll geek. All right.
Remember, they still sound great. The lineup minus Rodney, those three had been together for like 10, 15 years, so it's a good, strong lineup. And
Foghat, I saw Foghat at a state fair several years ago. They're great, even without any original members besides Rod Price, Roger Earl on drums. They're great. Their songs are great, and they're a lot of fun. It's good tunes.
You that are Ted Nugent fans will know that Charlie Huhn
That's right.
used to play in Nugent's band back in the Intensities in 10 Cities
The Weekend Warriors.
era for
Came in
several
on
years.
Weekend
and
Warriors.
his voice is still as strong as ever. So he really fits in well and has that kind of raspy, bluesy voice, so fits really well with Foghat. So as I said, we kind of heard the first couple songs while we were standing in line, but they opened up with Driving Wheel.
I'm your driving wheel. Great tune. One of my, it's probably my favorite Foghat tune.
Song, Stone Blued.
Stone Blue, great
they're
one.
starting out with pretty well-known songs.
American Heartbreak, my old band covered Stone Blue.
Crowd was, probably 2/3 full, but a lot of people were
Okay.
still filing in because you got to drive from Indianapolis up to Anderson, sit on the interstate, get something to eat or whatever, drink. So it's literally, probably an hour and a half from the time people get off work to get up there. So it was kind of probably half full by the time they started. Now, by the time they got going, probably a half hour into the set, everybody was there, and it was a sellout crowd. Obviously a lot of those are given away to, get people that gamble there a lot. But it was 3,000 people, so it was a good crowd by the time it was all said and done. So after Driving Wheel and Stone Blue, they played Hot Mama, which is on their new latest album called Under the Influence, which Rodney plays a couple tunes on. Which I picked up that CD at the show, and it's really good.
Do I have Under the Influence?
Very good. It's actually got Nick Jameson,
isn't that a cover
the original bass
album?
player on it, I believe, from like the early days. He plays one or two songs. My buddy Rodney plays a couple songs. Craig McGregor plays on it. So I'm trying to think there's somebody else semi-famous that plays guitar on it. Anyway, but it's a really good album. It's definitely worth picking up. I was pleasantly surprised. But third song, Hot Mama, is off of that. Then the next song was actually a Savoy Brown song, because you rock and roll geeks that are listening to this, some of you know that several of the members, including Roger Earl, came from Savoy Brown. So they did Needle and Spoon, and that was obviously a lot of slide guitar, very bluesy. Then fifth song, Chateau Lafitte 59 Boogie, which they played for many years. They also covered next song, It Hurts Me Too, which is obviously a great cover song. Seventh song, Chevrolet, well-known song. Then back to their originals, Fool for the City, everybody knows that one.
Great one.
And Home in My Hand,
Home in My Hand, great one.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, both of those are on Foghat Live. Let's see here.
Yes.
Yep, Fool for the City is the first song, Home in the Hand second. And then they did Road Fever, which is the fourth song on the famous Foghat Live. Then 11th song was
Basically, Foghat Live is all their hits, pretty much, before Stone Blue, because it came out before Stone Blue, but yeah.
Make Love to You, which that's probably one of my all-time favorite songs.
Great one.
Also on the infamous Foghat Live. And, of course, they closed out with
Slow Ride.
Slow Ride! And
did he do the bass solo?
So it was a great set. Only issue, they had a little bit of monitor issue after Stone Blue. Roger Earl came out from behind the drums, and he was kind of crappy and pointing to the monitors. He actually literally came back out of his drum stool, came off the drum riser, went onto the stage and was pointing to the sound guy, and he was not real happy. But after the show, Rodney, my buddy, cooled down. I texted him and said, "Are you coming out, or you guys got to take off?" He said, "I'll be right out." He came out, and between their set and Thorogood's set, Rodney came out and hung out with my friend Mark and I for about 45 minutes, which was great to catch up with him. And he had a lot to say about, that he's really happy. The band's treating him well. They do 70 or 80 shows a year.
Well, that's a lot.
Really, they're really good to him, and they're great people, way less drama than
Pat Travers.
I'll just say his former situation. He's still on good terms and still talks to Pat quite a bit, and Pat's, seems to be in a good place. He's given up some of his vices and has lost a lot of weight and seems to be doing well, so that's great news, because he's too talented to be wasting it away. And he said that their Foghat's alive and well. Roger Earl is 72 years old, and he said there's no signs of them letting up. Roger Earl's probably the most energetic of the four members of the band. He's way into it, and he just really, he's like the spark plug of the band, so that really gives me a lot of inspiration, considering he's basically 20 years older than me.
I think, isn't his wife the road manager? 'Cause when I saw them at the State Fair a couple of years ago, she was sitting right in front of us, and I think she was handling everything. But yeah.
Still be out there rocking and rolling at 72, and no signs of letting up. Now, all those years of drinking and partying, he's kind of looking worse for the wear, and he doesn't hit nearly as hard as he probably used to. But he definitely still keeps a good solid, rhythm, and he's got a good groove, and kind of plays funky.
When I saw them play, there was a guy sitting. His drum tech sits behind him and plays some percussion behind the drum riser.
Good solid funky groove to his playing. So, and he's a fellow DW endorser, so that's always impressive. And so anyway, it was
Chuck
really
Speer,
good.
a drummer.
Great set. great to catch up with Rodney for 45 minutes. And actually, we talked during the first probably 15 or 20 minutes of George Thorogood's set. So I didn't really catch a lot of what was going on. I mean, he came out like 20 minutes after Foghat stopped. And of course, these casino shows, they want the bands to play short sets because they want people visiting the casino floors and the racetrack. They don't want bands to play their full headlining set. They want people to play an hour set and then get the heck off the stage so people can go gamble and spend money. So so the casino gigs for those bands are really great. And Rodney told me, and I'm not at liberty to tell you how much. That's kind of their business, but they actually make more on those casino gigs, and they are actually making more money now than they ever have. Their asking price is more than it ever has, so they're in demand.
Even when they were headlining theaters,
arenas, 500 to 1,000 seat theaters headlining, and then playing casinos with other bands and stuff like that. But they make a good living, and so it's really it's a good gig. And then they have time with their families during the week. Then they fly out gigs, and Roger brings out his cymbals and brings out his kick pedal and brings out his gig stick bag. And Rodney said he had an endorsement with Remo heads, so they fly out Remo heads that actually have the Foghat logo on his kick drum, so the roadies can put those on. He's got they've got like a driver and a roadie, guitar roadie or something like that. So they have like 2 roadies that travel with them, so they don't really have to do much. They stay in 4 to 5 star hotels. They have nice per diems every night. Foghat takes care of their flights and stuff. So I got a lot of really good, juicy information. So they really treat Rodney well. So he's really happy, and I am so happy for my buddy. He's a talented cat, and he's a good, he's stays clean and focused and really good businessman. So I'm really happy for my buddy. So anyway, but Thorogood started, like 20 minutes after Foghat. Sound was really good. 5-piece band. He had a sax player, bass player, guitar player, himself, and the drummer. The set was Ain't Coming Home Tonight.
I don't know that one.
Who Do You Love? Obviously, Bo
That
Diddley.
one.
Shot Down, which is a Sonics cover. Nighttime is by a band, The Strange Loves. I'm not sure.
In the nighttime, it's a right time.
I know who that is, but then it was I Drink Alone, One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer, Gear Jammer, Bad to the Bone, and that's when we took off. Because I still had to get my buddy back to his house.
George Thorogood, great guitar player, doesn't get the recognition he deserves. I think he plays open tuning on all of his stuff. Somebody, a listener of the Rock and Reggae Show, a friend of the show, I don't know if he still listens, but I haven't gotten emails from him in a while, but he used to be, I think he was George Thorogood's guitar tech, or I don't know if he still works with him or not. But
and then drive 2 hours home so I could get home before like 2 o'clock in the morning. So they closed out with Bad to the Bone, came back out and did Born to be Bad. So literally a 9-song set for them, a 12-song set for Hog Fat, a.k.a. Foghat. So actually it was really almost a co-headline. And Rodney told me that they actually were going to Chicago the next night, and they were playing with Thorogood again.
Oh, okay.
And Thorogood had offered them more shows, but they had already booked their, some of their summer, most of their summer, so they had to turn it down. And he also said they did 2 of the shows on the Skinnerd finale farewell tour, and he got to be really good friends with Rick Medlock, and he said those shows went great. And he said it was just kind of crazy, because you would think in a big business like Leonard Skinnerd, especially on their farewell tour, that they would have mapped out, like most bands, a year in advance, the gig, the routing of the gigs, who's going to be support. But he literally said that they played, they have different bands going out with them, 38 Special, Marshall Tucker, Molly Hatchet, Foghat,
Kid
a couple
Rock.
other bands. They'll play, 2 or 3 of those bands will play a couple cities, then a couple different bands will play a couple other cities. So they're kind of having a revolving door of bands they played with through the 70s and 80s that are friends of theirs, and they liked Foghat. Like they liked where they were and how they sounded. And Rodney told me that they offered him 10 shows but they couldn't do them because they had already booked all these other shows. So they had the chance to play amphitheaters as the opening slot, like a 45-minute slot for the Skynyrd tour, which obviously is probably anywhere from 7,000 to 15,000 people a night. And so he was really heartbroken that they had to turn those down. But he said that their farewell tour is one of these tours that's going to go on like the Scorpions did a few years ago. Where it's like 3 years to say goodbye. I think Kiss is talking about doing that next year, where 2019 they do start their farewell tour and it ends in like 2021. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they're going to go through each city once. They'll probably go through each city 2 or 3 times, just having the same set and the same stage set, blah, 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 and milk people, but, for big bucks. But it will be their first, this will be Skinner's last, go around. There probably won't be a lot of new music for him, but Rick Medlock told Rodney that they are going to probably get some more of those dates, like maybe next summer. So, definitely, Foghat definitely sounds good. I would say in my estimation, and Rodney even said it to me, that the, playing Foghat's music is definitely not as complicated or as exhilarating as playing Pat's music. That's a lot more complicated.
Some of those Foghat tunes are hard to play on bass.
Foghat is still, really rock solid, and good party rock band. So if they ever play with Thorogood again, Thorogood was good solid entertainment, definitely worth going to check out. So anyway, hope the dog days summer are finding you well. Loving to hear about your kayaking and fishing expeditions, and enjoying your Mad at Dad. So keep up the good work there with Mr. Slusher, and you guys are cracking me up. So all good. Take care. Mr. Butler, you rock. See ya.
Thanks, friend. Chuck Speer, the Rock and Roll Hoosier. You too can leave me a show review. Area code 706-621-ROCK, or do like Chuck Speer did, record it on your phone and email it to rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. It comes out better sounding, and I don't have to deal with Skype bullshit. All right. That's going to do it for me. I'm going to play a song before we get out of here. Let me tell you how you can find the show. I'm not drinking yet. I can't start drinking until right before I go to practice. I'm drinking iced tea. Let me take a sip of this fine iced tea. You can find the show at rockandrollgeek.com. Find me on the Facebook, R&R Geek. There's a Facebook group as well. Just look for Rock and Roll Geek Show. There's 2, but I don't know who'd make the other one. The other one's not mine. It's an imposter. But look for the one with the most members. Now, you have to answer 2 questions, just so I know you're not a Russian hacker trying to meddle in the rock and roll talk. And, blah, blah, blah. All right. Find me on the Twitter, R&R Geek. Find me on the Instagram, Rock and Roll Geek. And thank you for the donations, friends. Please keep the donations, because without your donations, this show would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled death. All right, I'm going to close out with, how about American Heartbreak covering a Foghat tune? This was done in, I don't remember what year this was. We did a split 7-inch, or was this 7-inch? I don't know. We did a split record with another band called Libertines, and this ended up on some kind of tribute. I don't know. This is Stone Blue, American Heartbreak. Listen to the slide guitar coming out of this thing, Billy Rowe tearing up the slide guitar, and also the part where it goes, "Well, I was blue, stone blue." That was your friend Michael Butler on the vocals. So little fun facts for you. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow with day 9 of the Dog Days of Podcasting. Here's American Heartbreak doing Stone Blue. Up, 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 up. See? Look at that. It's totally unprofessional, and I can't paste it in because I just don't do that, friends. All right, here's American Heartbreak doing Stone Blue.
Knocking on my back door. It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.